You must know where they come from. I was born in Kampala, Uganda, in East Africa. And in 1962, my father was in Uganda when we won our independence from the British. And to celebrate that independence, the United States government gave the Ugandan government 23 scholarships. My father won one of those scholarships. And he came to this country to study at the University of Pittsburgh to become an engineer. And sometime into his period as a student, with his head deep into his textbook, he heard the words reverberate in the corridor around him. Which side are you on? Which side are you on? These were words from members of SNCC, Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. And they were recruiting students to get on the bus to go to Montgomery, Alabama. And my father got up, got on the bus, marched, was hosed down, thrown in jail, and given one phone call. And he called the Ugandan ambassador to the United States. He said, "Can you get me out of jail?" The ambassador said, "What are you doing in jail? We sent you there to study." He said, "You sent me here as a gift for our freedom. They are fighting for theirs. It's one and the same." And so I was raised with the understanding of freedom and the fight for it being interconnected. And as I look across our city today, the most expensive city in the United States of America, I am reminded that freedom is only as good as our ability to exercise it. I am reminded when politicians come and say, "This is the greatest city in the world," of the question that Dr. King asked us decades ago. What good is having the right to sit at a lunch counter if you can't afford to buy a hamburger? What good is being in the greatest city in the world if you can't afford your rent? If you can't afford your child care? If you can't afford your groceries? If you can't afford your Metro card? And so I stand here before you, running for mayor, to make this city affordable. And I think of the words of James 2:14, faith without works is death.
Yes.
It is not enough to simply believe that it should be affordable. You must deliver that affordability. And that is what I am going to do. I will do it by freezing the rent for every single rent-stabilized tenant across New York City. I will do it by making the slowest buses in the nation fast and free. And I will do it by delivering universal child care to each and every family so that we can take off a $25,000 a year cost from the backs of working families and finally make it easier to raise those children here in our city. And it has been a journey since we began this campaign 7 months ago. I remember looking at the first poll. It showed us at 1%. Today, I stand before you at 27% in this race. A candidate in a firm second place. 8 weeks ago, Governor Cuomo was winning the final round by 40 points. 2 weeks ago, we cut that lead in half to 20 points. At the beginning of this week, we cut it again to 12 points. 2 days ago, we cut it down to 8 points. We have 24 days. It's a single-digit race. And what I am telling New Yorkers is that this is a choice between the politics of the past, of big money and small vision, and a politics of the future that puts working people first. So it is such a pleasure to be here with you. It is such a pleasure to have your consideration. I hope to earn your vote as your #1 ranked candidate. And I also must remind you that you will have 5 choices as it comes to June 24th. And I hope absolutely to be as close to top on your ballot as you will allow. Thank you so much, and I look forward to all questions.
That, oh, there will be no rent hike for that year. And I was correct. And I believe if he becomes our next mayor, there will be no rent hike.
Woo! That's my word.
Okay. Any questions?
Questions?
If he becomes the mayor, he's right here. Ask him a question and see what he's going to do for our community.
Will you do a selfie with me afterwards? Because my daughter wants to come work for you when you become mayor.
Absolutely. If anybody wants a selfie, I'd be happy to take photos right now.
Okay.
All right.
Is that it? Nothing
Any
else?
quality of life issues? Dog poop, dogs not on leashes?
Anybody here
there's a question in the back.
from 23 when we sat at a town hall with Mayor Adams at I-61 and felt anything that we've spoken about and that we discussed there have even been addressed to solve? Isn't it time for new leadership? Isn't it time for some of the things, quality of life? I lived here for a year after a house fire. was some of the quietest time that I've spent. I'm a private homeowner up on North Strand Hill. I'm going to elaborate briefly on the parks, the safety issues of the parks. I was the person that disarmed the man, only for him to be back on the street 22 hours later.
Thank you for
There's no
disarming.
thanks. There's no thanks, because I want everybody to understand. The 110 precinct is the same precinct that was built in 1939 for 40,000 people. We have over 200,000 people in this community. How?
Wow.
Without any funding for that precinct or any additional resources for this community, can we ever address safety, quality of life? When we have Queen Center Mall businesses being robbed, small businesses being robbed. Roosevelt Avenue. Everybody wants to concern about Roosevelt Avenue. What did we do at Roosevelt Avenue? You pushed it all down into the rest of our communities. All it was smoke and mirrors. Can I count on you not to be the same corrupt man that's sitting in City Hall right now?
Absolutely you can,
Could you
sir.
deliver a message to these people of hope and change? Because
Absolutely.
I feel this community in particular, 30 to 35,000 votes. They come in, they ask for your vote. I don't live here. I live on Allston. I live in Corona. They come here, they ask you, you're going to decide this election in this part of Queens.
That's
Not only for your
right.
city council members, for your state government, but right, most importantly, for mayor. Make your choice very well, because
Yes.
we've been lied to on both ends.
Oh, yes.
God bless you, and God bless all of you.
Right here is what's going to determine a lot of what's going on in the Queens district, in the Queens area. Come on, one question for this man. One more question.
Okay, in the back.
Hey, that's it.
We need to hear you. Come. We need to hear
And
you.
he's young.
Yes, please.
You're running as a socialist candidate. You're promising socialist solutions to the problems faced by New Yorkers. I don't live in Left Rock personally, but people I know, friends, family members live up in here, and they're affected by really high rent prices, by low living conditions, in a really crime-infested neighborhood. And this is generally the condition for every single New Yorker, from all the way to Bronx, all the way to Brooklyn, and back. I ask you, how you as a candidate or as a mayor promise to the working class people of New York that you're going to fix the problem of landlord parasitism. The problem with the landlords in the frac and in the place where I live is that these people who don't produce any value in society, who don't even work, are taking all of our work, they're taking all of our income and raising the rents. Next Thursday, the Rent Guideline Board, which is the people that said the rents for New York are going to raise the rent.
Yes, they are.
If you don't intervene in this, if you don't organize. So my question to you is, how you are going to, you as a candidate, intervene in this critical event for all New Yorkers and assure us and assure every single citizen of this state that you are 100% bound to our interest. How do we know that you're not going to betray the interest when you become mayor?
All right.
The Rent Guidelines Board is chosen by
the mayor.
And he said that he wants a rent freeze. So he's going to definitely get guideline boards, the members that are going to help freeze the rent.
And I want to say, just to your point and to your point, many people have been promised many things by many candidates before. And there is a rightful disbelief amongst many New Yorkers. And for too long we've had mayors who pretend they don't have the power that they use. The Rent Guidelines Board sets the rent increase for close to 2.5 million New Yorkers. We have a mayor who pretends that he doesn't control it, even though he appoints every single one of the 9 members who make that decision. We have to be clear about our powers. And the first thing I said when I launched this campaign on October 23rd is I'm going to freeze the rent. And I said that then because the median household income of a rent-stabilized tenant is $60,000. The landlords of those units have seen their profits go up by 12%. It is time for relief. And I tell you what I'm fighting for, because the first day that I'm mayor, I want you to find me on the street, because I will be there, and tell me, when are you going to freeze that rent? And I'm going to tell you exactly the date of the Rent Guidelines Board hearing when my Rent Guidelines Board does exactly that. Thank you.
Praise the Lord!
Thank you all so much.
At least he didn't say they ain't do it on day one. Because your day one is inauguration, the inaugural goals, so not on day one.
One question really
I have
quick.
the real question. Okay, how are you gonna pay for the child care?
Yes, it's a great question. So,
Healthcare.
the child care, universal child care. So,
Great question.
We see after housing, the #1 reason that people leave New York City is the cost of childcare. It's about $25,000 a year. It's more money to get childcare than it is to send your child to CUNY 18 years later. We have seen that because of the lack of this city has lost an estimated $23 billion in economic activity. People are leaving to Connecticut, to New Jersey, to Pennsylvania. We have an estimate of the cost of universal child care around $6 billion. It's a significant amount of money. But I want to tell you how we're going to raise that money. And it's not going to affect anybody in this room. The top corporate tax rate in New York is 7.25%. If you're a company that's making millions of dollars in profit, not revenue, profit, you pay 7.25%. But if you go over to New Jersey, you pay 11.5%. So I'm saying we can match New Jersey, and just by doing that, we raise $5 billion. The second way we raise another $4 billion is we ask the top 1% of New Yorkers who make $1 million a year or more, to tax them just an extra 2%, $20,000, like a rounding error if you're making $1 million. Those two things together, that's $9 billion. That pays for universal child care, that pays for making every bus fast and free, and that starts to pay for the Trump cuts that we're going to see come down the pike, so we have some money to protect our city. That's how we pay for it, because it's time that those who make the most pay a little bit more so everybody can have a better life.
Yeah!
Thank you all so much. It's a pleasure.